I'm back. This is the second thing I wanted to talk about in this module. And it's the second part of rapport building and relationship building with a social worker and a client. So we just talked, and hopefully you watched the videos too that I gave you about empathy, and you're getting this empathy for sympathy thing down. Hopefully you are still working this week on trying to do that with people, trying to say how they felt, right? Get in touch with the feeling in a similar situation. Um, the second part then is giving that back to the client. But the way we're going to give a client a feeling or the next step in our process to get their back has to be through what is called reflective listening. Reflective listening, and I do have another video that you'll get to see, is about telling the client what you just heard, and eventually you'll add in the feeling. But what they just shared with you in a session or in a meeting, so that you can make sure that you understood what they said and so that they know that you did hear them. Brene Brown, who is a terrific social worker and who did the empathy sympathy video, has a great quote, and she says that no one reaches out to a social worker needing compassion and needing empathy to have them give them a lecture on what they're supposed to do. That's not what people come and talk to us for. I always find that as I get older, I realize people really do know what they need to do next. It's the sorting it out that's a problem. It's the getting them to trust the inside of their heart and soul to know what they should do next. So we get that from reflective listening. So we've got the empathy. We're out there being more aware of what our feelings are when things happen, so we can tap into our feelings when a client shares that feeling, or a friend, spouse, anybody. And now we're going to add reflective listening. Reflective listening is basically, as I said, paraphrasing or exactly restating what the client said so that there is an understanding that you heard them. So if Sue comes in and she says to me, I've been so depressed this week. The weather, this COVID, everything is just tough. It's very difficult. And she says, I'm sorry. And I might say back to her, wow, this is getting tough, isn't it? This COVID-19 really, really making things more difficult for you than usual. Her response is going to be exactly. So now I've encouraged her to talk a little bit more. Let me try to think of another example. So you just heard a noise. I bent over in the middle of the lecture. My actual Roomba vacuum turned itself on, and that was very embarrassing. So hopefully you right now can think of something that would be an embarrassing feeling to you and hold on to that. If I were to come to you, I might say to you, I am so upset. I was just giving a lecture in class. I was recording it, and my vacuum loudly went on all by itself in the background. Stop for a minute, and what would you say back to me to be able to reflectively listen? And then also, what's the feeling? So have you ever been doing a video or doing public speaking and you make a mistake or something you weren't counting on happens? What's that feeling? It's makes you blush, right? You feel shame. You feel like everybody's looking at you. So you might want to say to me, get in touch with that feeling, and then say to me, it sounds like you felt like you were ashamed that the vacuum went on. So there's putting the feeling out there. But now reflective listening. You remember what I said? Oh, I'm so embarrassed. I was teaching class, and my Roomba vacuum went on. You could just give back to me, wow, when you were teaching the class, the Roomba vacuum started? I said it a little differently, but it's the same words back, and now I know for sure you heard me. This seems so simple, reflective listening and getting in touch with a feeling. But if you are watching yourself and you're watching other people, you will see how often people trample on other people's feelings and then jump to telling them what to do. They don't sit in the feeling long enough to help the person get in touch with it. Now, there's going to be exercises on this within this module and the next module, so we're going to do a lot of it because it does take practice. It becomes second nature eventually, but it is a new way of looking at things. I'm going to just jump ahead here and let you know that one of the exercises we will then combine the two things, and so you'll do the reflective listening and the feeling at the same time. So it sounds like you were really embarrassed when your rumba vacuum went on in the middle of class. So you got the feeling and I got the empathy. Hoping that makes sense. So if you wouldn't mind doing this, I'd like you to email me just to be sure you took this video and let me know what color shirt I have on. Okay? Thanks very much. We'll talk to you soon and see you in some of the exercises in this module.